Okay, so now that I'm recording, I'm just going to remind, this is about when I want to submit a project that I built it in Eclipse. The easiest way is just right-click, export, general, archive file. And I do next, and I choose, see the one I had selected, I right-clicked on, that's the one that's going to archive. It'll actually let me archive all my projects that I have currently in my browser, or the view. I can choose a file to archive it to, and typically I'll either put this in my downloads or my documents where I'm keeping track. It, by default, wants to go put it over in your Eclipse workspace folder. I'm going to go put it in my documents folder underneath this class. And I'm going to give it the name Manning EX6. You would put your name in there. So now when I get it, if there's any confusion, I know that's your file. This basically sends your entire project over to that zip file. That's the file then that you can upload, and I can unzip it and open and run your whole project. Okay, so now we're going to build our GUI. Here's how I would build a GUI. I'm building a separate GUI for each exercise. So for this one, I want a GUI that will give me, where did my assignment go? They'll give me a GUI that has those items in it. That I've thought, I'm going to have a label asking for a number, a text field to enter the number, a label to ask me for the base, text field to enter the base, label for a number to ask me for the base to convert it to, and then a text field, a button, and a label to show the answer. So here we go now. I'm going to start this completely from scratch just to show you the steps to go through, that I go through. I'm going to do in my source folder here, I'm going to right-click, New Class. By doing right-click right here, it puts the proper source folder and location already up there. I'm going to call this GUI EX6-3. Oh, I don't know if it likes dashes. I don't know if it likes dashes in class names. No, it definitely won't. Let's do 6_3. Okay, there is my class. Because this is going to be a GUI, I'm going to type in extends JFrame. JFrame, remember, is what gives me all the graphical capabilities. It doesn't initially recognize JFrame, so I have to hover over that, and oh, it doesn't tell me import. I thought it would give me the chance to import that. Well, it'll come back later. I'm going to define my constructor. There's my constructor, taking no parameters. And let's see if it recognizes. There we go, import JFrame. I don't know why it didn't do that at first. Now here's my constructor. And if I want to put in a comment here, here's my constructor. This is where I build up everything that I'm going to be using to get my input. All right. Now I'm going to make some variables that are going to be my graphical elements. I'll call this my GUI elements. Because I need to access from when I click the button, what did they type in, I'm going to make this a global variable to my class. So I'm going to make a J text field. I'll call it txt num. This is the number that they're going to be typing, the number to be converted. So number to be converted in my comments. It's a JText field. Eclipse doesn't recognize what that is until I click import the JText field. If I want to avoid having to do all those imports, I could do import javax.swing.star, but I'm going to let, yeah. And that'll keep you from having to tell Eclipse each time. But I'm doing that just so you'll see what to do if you run across that error. But yeah, if you do star here, then Eclipse knows everything about all of Swing. Oh yeah. No, you can do star. I'm just showing you the hard way because often you'll see that. Okay, so the number that they're going to give me, now there's going to be another text field. I'm calling it txt, and this will be the base. I have to tell them what the base is, and I'm going to call this base 1 because I'm converting from the base 1 to the base 2. So I'm calling that txt base 1, base of input. Okay, and I'm going to have another JText field, txt base 2. This is the base to be converted to. I'll call it destination base. Destination base. Again, those comments have no effect on my code. And see, those are the only 3 numbers that I need to read from. But in order to print out the result, there's going to be a label that I'll call that LBL answer. Show answer here. And it's going to be a label, but Eclipse doesn't know what a label is yet until I make sure to import javax.swing.label. All those other labels, I don't care, I don't need a reference to because I'm not worrying about ever referencing them, so I'm going to just create them down here. So in the constructor, I'm creating a JFrame. I like to do a set title. Now, I also like to do a this because it helps to make sure I spell things right. Set title, and I hit enter, and it helps me get the code right. And now I can put Java chapter 6 exercise 3. You don't have to do the this, but that's helpful. This dot set size, and I'm going to give it a width of about 200, and a height, I'll go a height of 300. What was that? Yeah, the this helps. Yeah, that's why this is handy. You don't have to do it that way, but it's just nice to help me avoid the typos. At this point, my frame will have a size, and let's now start creating our labels. Now I'm going to show you a little shortcut. Since I don't care about needing to reference that first label. Oh, and I need a content. I forgot. I need a content pane. So container. I forgot. I need a container to add things to. I can't add things to the frame. I have to add to the container of the frame, and I like to call it panel equals this dot get content panel, content pane. And of course, it doesn't know what a container is. You'd think it would, since I've already used a frame that has containers, but you have to add that separate. And it's not a swing thing, that's an AWT thing of containers. All right. Now, I can start adding things to my pane, but remember, it needs to know how to arrange things, so I have to do a panel dot set grid. Oh, set. There's an add layout. Oh, is it set or add? It's set layout. Yeah, there it is. Set layout manager, or set layout. And this is where I have to just take examples from the book. It's a new grid layout. This is where I tell it how many rows and columns I'm planning to have in my grid. And I've already counted. I'm going to have 8 rows and 1 column. And of course, it doesn't recognize what a grid layout is until I import grid layout. And again, that's an AWT thing, not a swing. Now we can start adding our elements. And I'm just going to add a couple and make sure it works before I add any more, because man, we're out of time already. Let me just quickly add 2 elements. I'm going to add a label. And here's I'm going to do a shortcut. I'm going to add a component. And here's how I'm going to do it. New JLabel that has a string number question mark. I don't even care to have a variable that holds that label because it's only being put on the pane, on the panel. I don't care to ever reference it again. If I needed to reference it again, I need to keep its object in a variable. Here, I'm just creating one, telling panel add it to that, and now let's add the first text field. Now, since I need to keep track of the text field of this number, reading at what they typed to me later, I'm going to say text num equals new j text field. Oops, spelled it wrong. Here's a little trick, because I don't want to have to, I know I can do this in one line. I can assign a variable to have a new j text field and then take its value and send it to panel add. I can do that all in one line. And you often see coders doing this when it's a short, here, create one and use its value to add to my panel. A little shortcut here, save me some coding time. And at this point, I'm just going to run it just to see that I actually do get that showing up. Oh, I had an error somewhere. But this is the start of my GUI. Back in the main, I need to create this GUI and make it visible. And I think what I'll do is I'll record doing creating the GUI, making it visible, because class is over. You want to stick around and watch. Otherwise, I'll put this recording up online. So I'm going to stop right. I'm not going to do any more code yet. I'm going to make sure I can get these to show up. So back in my main, it's gui6_3. To make it show up, oh yeah, there's that error that I was testing that other code. I'm going to go where I would actually cause this to appear. In main, here's how I actually make it appear. GUI EX6_3. That line there is what causes my GUI for exercise 3 to be created and to appear. Now, I've done this already as I was practicing, making sure I didn't trip over anything. But this was one completely scratched, so you'll see these other ones appear as well. When I run it now, and let's see. Oh, I got some error appearing still. What's going on? Oh, that was all from that practice problem. I'll just get rid of that practice problem. That was just a practice. There we go. Now we run it. And there is the start of my GUI. The number place for them to type it. I'm going to pause this, and then I'll go back to my office and complete this and give you at least the GUI part of completing this Chapter 6, Exercise 3. This is the hardest of the 3, so if you can do this one, you can go back and do Exercise 2 and 1 if you haven't done it already. And if you have done it already, you can compare how your style was compared to this, and hopefully they're not completely different. All right, see you Friday.